Today on Business Daily, the Dangote Refinery lowers petrol price to 970 naira per litre. Petron commends petroleum product stakeholders for reaching resolution on logistics. And the dollar falls after Trump's Treasury nomination surge. Hello, welcome. You're watching Business Daily. Many thanks for joining us right now on LN 24/7. My name is Amaka Daniels. I will start off in the oil sector where the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has just announced a price drop for its premium motor spirit. The cost has been reduced from 990 naira per litre to 970 naira per litre, making it more affordable for marketers purchasing the product. Now, in a statement released on Sunday, the Group Chief Branding and Communications Officer of the Dangote Group, Anthony Chiejina, said that the reduction was to appreciate Nigerians as the year ends. Chiejina said that the refinery would not compromise on the quality of its petroleum products while assuring Nigerians of the best quality products that are environmentally friendly and sustainable. Now, recently, both the independent and major marketers confirmed that the pump prices of petrol have started reducing in many parts of Nigeria due to the competition that the regulation of the downstream sector has caused. And still in the oil sector, the national headquarters of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petrolan, has commended petroleum stakeholders in Nigeria, including the management of the NNPCL, the president of the Dangote Refinery, the leadership of the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, and other stakeholders for reaching a resolution for oil marketing companies to buy all of the Dangote Refinery products. Now, this resolution includes the Dangote Refinery guaranteeing to sell an agreed reasonable quantity of PMS daily for the next 6 months to oil marketers for domestic consumption in the Nigerian market. The national president of Petron, while addressing newsmen, expressed optimism that the resolutions will bring succor to the downstream sector and improve the Nigerian economy. Now, he further noted that the new deal is part of a resolution reached by stakeholders on the absorption of domestic petroleum products production by the Nigerian oil marketing companies, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Now, this resolution will also attract so much benefits, which includes stability of petroleum products, control of price fluctuations, maintaining transparent communication, addressing conflicts proactively, and fostering collaboration among key stakeholder players. Now we'll move on to the electricity sector, where the federal government's monthly electricity subsidy spending has skyrocketed to 1.91 trillion naira in just the first 11 months of 2024. Now, this was revealed in a new report by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. And the report, it stated that power distribution companies collected a total revenue of 1.23 trillion naira during the first 9 months of 2024, exceeding the total revenue generation of 1.08 trillion naira in 2023. Now, an analysis of figures from the power sector's regulators' monthly supplementary order posted on its website on Sunday indicated that electricity subsidies continue to increase every quarter throughout the year, despite the elimination of subsidies for Band A customers. Now, the amount incurred between January and November 2024 represents an increase of 204.15%, or 1.283 trillion naira, from the 628.61 billion naira recorded in 2023. The absence of cost-reflective tariffs was said to have caused the federal government to undertake to cover the resultant gap between the cost-reflective and also allowed tariff in the form of tariff subsidies. In another development, the Minister of State for Works, Muhammad Bello Goronyo, has charged lawyers to present themselves and to serve as key drivers in the ongoing fight against corruption and the promotion of rule of law, which highlights the 8 priority areas of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Now, the minister said that President Bola Tinubu's administration's 8 priority areas includes reforming the nation's economy to deliver sustained inclusive growth, strengthening national security for peace and prosperity, as well as boosting agriculture to achieve food security, among others. The minister also cautioned the lawyers to harness the opportunities available within the bounds of the law to impact positively on the nation's judicial and legal communities, as well as the economy.
Remind you, as lawyers, you are the drivers in the ongoing fight against corruption and promotion of the rule of law, which highlight the 8 priority areas of our dear President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's renewed power agenda. I therefore implore you to work hard and contribute your respective quotas toward the attainment of this noble objective. Tests demand patience, and it is this patience that will allow you to make decisions with a long-term vision, giving every case, every client the attention he or she deserves. Then there is a hard work. In law, as in life generally, there is no shortcut. The legal profession demands hours of preparation, careful research, and an unwavering dedication to the truth and accuracy. Hard work is the backbone of our credibility and the cornerstones of our success as lawyers.
The challenges young lawyers are facing today are multifaceted, all of which are owing to them being young in the profession. These challenges pose significant obstacles to them in unfolding their potentialities. As we gather here today, we must recognize the urgency of those challenges and other issues that affect the young lawyers with a view to harnessing collaborative efforts to overcome them.
To embark on this journey, I urge you to maintain the highest standards of integrity, ethics, and professionalism. Let your actions be guided by the principles of justice, equity, and fairness.
You're still watching Business Daily, and Anambra State government has secured investments, commitments, and partnerships worth over $500 million. Well, we'll find out more right after this break. Welcome back. You're still watching Business Daily. Moving on, the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture is sounding the alarm over the potential long-term fallout from arbitrary taxation, warning that it could spell trouble for businesses and the economy as a whole. NASIMA's president, Dele Oye, emphasized that high taxes hinder innovation, stifle investment, and pose a threat to the sustainability of enterprises. Meanwhile, he also called for a review of sections of the 2024 tax bill, citing provisions that negatively impact businesses, particularly those operating within free trade zones, and therefore urged the federal government to adopt a more collaborative and long-term approach to taxation policies so as not to destabilize critical sectors of the economy. Now, while speaking on free trade zones, he also appealed to the president to consider advice from the genuine private sector and organized private sector in Nigeria, urging to always hold stakeholder forums before implementing major economic policies in Nigeria. And the Nigerian equity market recorded a gain of 77 billion naira in the past week, bringing the total market capitalization closer to the anticipated 60 trillion naira threshold. The market capitalization is currently 59.29 trillion naira. Also, the all-share index appreciated by 0.11% to close at 97,829 points, reflecting positive market sentiment. A total turnover of 1.95 billion shares worth 35.86 billion naira was recorded during the week, compared to the 1.48 billion shares valued at 38.88 billion naira the previous week. Now, this week, the week saw a better performance by equities as 52 stocks appreciated in price, up from 39 in the previous week, and conversely, 33 equities declined, and fewer than the 46 recorded in the previous week. In another development, the federal government's expenditure report for the first 8 months of 2024 shows just how much debt servicing is weighing down on Nigeria's finances, and this raises serious concerns about the country's financial health. Now, from January to August, Nigeria spent 7.41 trillion naira on debt servicing, which is 34.4% more than the planned budget of 5.51 trillion naira, and this amount also represents 89.6% of the 8.27 trillion naira set aside for debt servicing this year, and it seems likely that the government will exceed this budget, similar to what happened in 2023. In the 2023 medium-term expenditure framework, the government allocated 6.55 trillion naira for debt servicing, but the actual spending reached 8.56 trillion naira, going over the budget by 1.99 trillion, or 30.5%. Now, the increase in spending was mainly due to domestic debt servicing, which totaled 5.03 trillion naira, exceeding its budget of 3.92 trillion naira by 28%, and foreign debt servicing was also 1.82 trillion naira, which was close to the amount budgeted. At the same time, capital expenditures are facing significant shortfalls, which is currently hindering developmental progress in Nigeria. The rise in foreign debt repayments is largely due to the depreciation of the naira, which has made dollar-denominated debts more expensive. Also, the Anambra State government has secured investment commitments and partnerships worth over $500 million following the conclusion of the second edition of its investment summit. Now, the summit themed Changing Gears, Accelerating Anambra's Economic Transformation, brought together development partners, financial institutions, industry leaders, and government officials to explore investment opportunities in the state. The managing director of the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, Mark Okoye, in a post-summit briefing on Sunday in Awka, stated that the state is on track to becoming a leading economic hub in Nigeria. Okoye highlighted that in 2023, the state secured $250 million from Afrexim Bank to fund key projects, including the Anambra Mixed-Use Industrial City and the Intra-City Rail Project. According to NAN, the state is partnering with the United Nations Development Programme to establish a technology and entrepreneurship hub called Makers Space, and agreements have also been signed with Genesis Energy and VFD Energy to develop independent power plants. Still talking about investments, the federal government, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security and Fundaco Getulio Vargas of Brazil, have signed a memorandum of understanding to advance private sector development in fertilizer production, hybrid seed technology, and agricultural finance. Now, the MOU was signed on behalf of the government by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Temitope Fadeshemi, and the President of the FGV, Professor Carlos Ivan Simonsen Lie, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, on the sidelines of the G20 Leaders Summit. Now, under the Memorandum of Understanding, private sector projects on fertilizer production and technology, as well as agricultural financing, are projected to attract $4.3 billion in private sector investment. The State House Director of Information and Publicity, Abiodun Oladunjoye, said the agreement marks a new phase of strategic collaboration between Nigeria and the FGV and the Green Imperative Project Lead Implementer, one of the largest international agricultural technology transfer initiatives. The project also aims to deliver transformative agricultural technologies and knowledge transfer over its 10-year duration. And the VAT derivation debate in Nigeria has intensified following the introduction of President Tinubu's proposed tax reform bill, and stakeholders argue that the model would exacerbate economic inequality and potentially lead to job losses. A while ago on our This Morning program, we had a research expert who shed more light on the matter.
I have looked at some parts of the bill, particularly the VAT aspect of it. And the truth is, it's quite a bold set of measures. You will recall that there has been work done already about tax reform with the Taiwo Oyedele-led committee. And because of that, the Nigerian tax bill is the result of the work that Mr. Oyedele and his committee have done. And I think that they submitted that work to the president. I think that was earlier this year or maybe late last year. And so I think that those measures are pretty bold. And so because of that boldness, typically there are people and institutions that will gain and some that will lose. And I think that the VAT conversation is a reflection of some of that. So I think that what we need to understand is that value-added tax is a consumption-based tax. It is a tax that is directly connected to economic activity in a place.
Now, you're still watching Business Daily, and right after this break, we'll take more stories for you from Africa and the rest of the world. Do stay tuned.
Ellen 24/7 lights up your day with unbeatable shows that guarantees absolute access to stories that revolves around politics, entertainment, and sports. Breaking news, plus detailed reports and analysis. At Ellen 24/7, where the story goes, we go.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Daily. And elsewhere in Africa, Zimbabwe's president is set to host a crucial conference with creditors and finance executives on Monday, aiming to tackle the ambitious goal of clearing debt arrears and restructuring $12.7 billion in external debt. Now, this move could pave the way for the country to access international capital markets for the first time in over 20 years. Zimbabwe's debt pile accounts for 81% of its gross domestic product, and clearing it will be a tough challenge for a country that has faced numerous financial crises in recent decades, from repeated bouts of hyperinflation to multiple unsuccessful attempts to launch new currency regimes. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa and the African Development Bank's President Akinwumi Adesina will attend a one-day meeting in Harare along with creditors, development groups, and private sector representatives. And on the global scene, the dollar fell back on Monday after experiencing a strong run as the selection of the United States Treasury Secretary seemed to calm the bond market about fiscal discipline. Now, this led to lower yields and reduced some of the dollar's rate advantage. Yields on 10-year treasuries dropped to 4.34%, down from 4.412% late Friday, following President-elect Donald Trump's choice of fund manager Scott Bessent, who is seen as a seasoned Wall Street figure and a fiscal conservative. The dollar had been rising for 8 weeks straight, with many indicators suggesting it was overbought due to expectations that Trump's policies would increase inflation and further boost the dollar. The dollar index fell by 0.8% to 107.22, down from a two-year high of 108.090 on Friday. And the dollar also dropped 0.2% against the Japanese yen, now at 154.52, moving further away from its recent peak of 156.76. Well, that's where we draw the curtains today on Business Daily, but it doesn't end here. It never ends here. You can always join the conversation by visiting our social media handles at LN247 across all social media platforms, especially our content hub at www.ln247.news. I am Amaka Daniels, and I'll see you next time.